With its seemingly long list of benefits, which includes boosting mood, alleviating pain, promoting healthy sleep and healthy digestion, improving skin conditions, and so many more, it's no wonder people are turning to essential oils to support their health and well-being. The popularity of these wonder-working oils is stirring interest in learning how to extract them for personal use or for business. Welcome to Extraction Essentials, where you'll learn and discover how to create a formula using quality engineered products. Hosted by Tony Frischknecht, this podcast is all about the process of extraction tools and the equipment that surrounds the extraction lab or facility. Create an income while enjoying the many benefits and uses of essential oils by tuning in to Extraction Essentials.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our very first episode of Extraction Essentials. Today, this is your host, Tony Frischknecht, and we are going to be bringing you a couple of our execs that we have here at Essential Extractions. I've got Gary Ross, founder and CEO of Essential Extractions. Hi, Gary. How you doing?
Wonderful.
And I also have David Ross, founder and COO. And if you guys haven't already figured this out quite yet, this is a father and son. They've been in the game for quite some time.
My dad looks pretty good for his age, too.
That's scary.
Oh, that's awesome. So this is going to be great because I want you to get to know Essential Extractions and what's behind it. So Gary Ross, he's got an extensive resume. CEO and founder of Coda Microcircuits, Senior Vice President of Fairchild Semiconductor, CEO of Cadeka Microcircuits, CEO of OpenVape, founder of Fresh Horses Consulting, and finally, CEO and co-founder of Essential Extractions Corp. Gary, wow.
Oh, you just made me tired.
How long have you been around for, my man? That's a lot of stuff.
Hey, I tell you what, I was born in 1957, and it was a good day. Yeah, I tell you, I love it. You know, being the current CEO of Essential Extractions Corp is just a lot of fun. We're having a ball. We're focused on small to mid-scale extraction, including filtering and infusing and isolating. And so it's just a growing area, and there's just so much science in there that's just very interesting. And the people that we get to work with are just really intriguing. It's just a lot of fun. It's leading edge. And we also are creating and producing ancillary products that kind of coincide with the extraction process itself. And so David has got some patents in this area in the vape cartridges. We've got some really exciting development that's taking place there in the ancillary support. So prior to Essential Extractions, I took a little break in between running a company and was a private equity investor for a period of time and a consultant. I was introduced to the cannabis industry by you, and it was such a wonderful experience. You recruited me to help out with OpenVape, and I fell in love with the industry.
Well, even before that, I recruited you to actually work with us on the dispensaries. Gentlemen, that people that are out there listening, that's a lot of my background. We can go into that at a further date, but I actually brought Gary in because Gary has a very unique personality. He is, I look at him, he's a great leader, actually. He knows how to take a group of people, get them all to work well together, and actually move in the same direction. And any of you that have started a business or are creating one, and you haven't experienced the frustration of building a company and getting it to go in true north, I like to say, and I know Gary does as well.
Yeah.
This is one thing that Gary is extremely good at. I actually haven't seen anybody. I'm going to be complimentary here, but I've never seen anybody put together a group as well as he does. So, Gary, go ahead and continue. Sorry about the interruption.
Thank you very much. I'm flattered. I tell you, I was blessed with having the opportunity to develop those types of skills. Prior to getting into the industry, as you mentioned, I was CEO and founder of a couple of other companies, and they were in the integrated circuit world in semiconductors. And what would happen then is we'd build the value of those companies to a point where it became attractive to a larger company. So our transition point was merging into larger companies. It did that 3 times, right? And in doing that, what would end up happening is I would be retained to make sure that our company was merged in properly into the acquiring company. And then also there would be different product lines that would be consolidated. And so I got an early exposure. I was blessed to be able to do that. And so then I was able to take those skills and then come into the cannabis industry per se, and to realize that, hey, there's a lot of the same challenges in this new industry. Because when I started in semiconductors, it was pretty new. I'm really dating myself, right? And so I looked at the cannabis world and said, wow, this has got
What
some
year
of the
did
same
you start?
challenges.
What year did that start for you in?
I went to work for Hewlett Packard in 1979. They actually hired me before I graduated, so I was pretty honored by that, because that was a hard place to get into at the time. That was the company. They were the bang, right?
Yeah.
And so I was there for about 7 years, and then from there I went off to the first startup business, and then it just continued from there. And then the last company in the semiconductor industry was called XR. And that was the company that we merged into. So our company was Cadeka Microcircuits. We were acquired by XR, and I had a contract to work with them for a couple of years. And to be quite honest, I was getting a little burned out on semiconductors. So I was yearning for something new and different. And that's when you were kind enough to call on me to maybe take a look at the Open Vape Challenge, because you had 5 founders and you guys were all kind of coming together to create Open Vape from your different respective businesses. All of you brilliant, all of you bright, all of you had a lot of things to contribute, but getting on the same page was a lot of fun. And so I really enjoyed doing that. And so, and that was a real successful company. You guys really did well. And I was proud to be part of it.
Yeah, I think all of us learned a ton, especially when you're going from a small mom and pop business and trying to create somewhat of a corporate type atmosphere. There were so many things that all of us learned through the process.
Yeah.
So next I've got David Ross, product development manager at Open Vape, business consultant for Sparks Distributors, VP of product development at Growth Leasing, co-founder and COO of Essential Extractions. David, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being on.
Thanks for having me, Tony.
So David, I see, I know you, and I see looking along this list, I mean, you've got an extensive experience in product development. Mm-hmm. Can you share with the listeners and people watching, when did you start and what drew you to the cannabis industry?
Yeah, I started along with Open Vape. That's where I got my teeth cut in the industry. I joined up with the group after my dad got in there, and he gave me a spot. But I quickly found my way into a managerial role and started getting exposure to just about every aspect of the business, and found my way into the hardware side of things, and of course facilitating the relationships with the hardware suppliers, and also on the lab end, how we were filling those, and just the whole and the customer experience as well. So basically the entire product. I started managing the cartridge, if you will, and that's where I got all the exposure, and I was able to identify the issues, the pitfalls with the designs that were available at the time, and which I was grateful enough that the company supported R&D efforts and development efforts, and I was able to work with engineers and develop several designs got a few patents to our name at that company, and a few of them are being utilized today. And so it taught me a lot. And from there, I branched off and consulted in the industry, providing knowledge on the hardware and what quality suppliers were available, and what new designs could be feasible. So that led me into Spark Distributors. That was a vaporizer brand, more in the e-cig industry. But the hardware and the knowledge that I gained also led me into Growth Leasing, and they brought me on and wanted me to develop their product line, which began with vaporizers. So established that for them, and they are successful. Operating a few brands up in Washington State.
So you spent your last 3 years there with them. What were a few things that you were working on over the last 3 years with them, besides the vaporizer?
Just all kinds of product development. So we developed custom packaging, custom jars, just about custom vaporizer devices, and just about every kind of product, hardware that you could think of. We went out and tried to develop our own custom device. So it was a unique approach, but I think it gained traction early in the beginning.
So you mentioned before you were working on extensive relationships with different parties. Was that on the manufacturing side, and where was your focus at?
Yes, definitely on the manufacturing side of things. Dealing with engineers and sourcing individual components, and having the assembly design all the way through final assembly and logistics as well.
Was that, when you say logistics, that kind of tells me that this wasn't a local dealer or local manufacturer you were working with. Who were you working? Where were you working out of? Was it nearby? Was it in U.S., another country?
Yeah, a lot of parts from everywhere. So one custom package, we actually had trays coming from plastic trays that would go inside of a box. The tray was coming from China. The box was supplied from a local distributor in the U.S. And we found that being the most cost-effective way to actually get them that product, and being able to operate kind of lean, because in the industry that they're operating in, and you kind of had to operate lean. Regulations change all the time, and couldn't really commit to any one thing. So we were able to establish a supply chain for them, and to reach the cost and the price points that they needed to.
Awesome. Well, I know you guys are just as excited as I am to bring some great shows to the listener and the people viewing out there. So go ahead, Gary.
Absolutely. Really, really want to, we've got a lot of experience we want to share.
That's great. Yeah. Well, I know that had I had something like this to look into as just starting either any type of extraction business, for the listeners out there, we're not talking just extraction for cannabis. This is something that is essential oils, and it's becoming a bigger and bigger market as we speak. People are taking it and putting it in topicals, whether it's lotions. They have the little diffusers that sit in your homes. All these type of things come from essential oils, and they bring out the best from our plants that we're extracting this material from, these oils. So a lot of our research and what we're following up on has a baseline of essential oils. I mean, that's why we called it Essential Extraction, is the name of the company. So
that's exactly right.
So
that's exactly right. And I tell you, we're seeing, we started the company thinking of what it was that we were lacking in our previous life, right? So for example, we would run batches of oil at our previous companies, and we'd submit those for quality conformance testing to see if there's any residual material, to see if there's any solvents that are left over and things like that. So there's criteria that everybody in the cannabis industry understands, and if that passes, then you can go forward with your final loading of the cartridges and ship the parts to dispensaries and all that kind of stuff. If it fails, you're shit out of luck, right?
Yeah.
So what we always wanted to do was have a small batch run where we could do a small scale CO2 extraction based on our larger CO2 equipment, extraction equipment, not close down production. Production had to keep running, but get ahead of the curve, test a new lot, get that quality tested, and then we're ready to go and run the batch. Instead of doing the conformance testing after the large batch is run, we can do it before that large batch is run. And we thought, man, we got to make a little small extractor. Boy, did we realize that was a big challenge, because you had to do it in a way that it would mimic what your final process was, right? So that led us down a path. And then before we knew it, we had guys from the apothecary industry. They were showing some interest in these to be used as autonomous type of operations within their facility to customize some of the blends that they wanted to do for customers. So we're looking at that and saying, oh shit, we've got real business here. And then David, he goes, oh man, I bet you this would be really cool in laboratories at universities. And lo and behold, we just got a nice order from a top Ivy League university that's placed an order for multiple units, I think like 10, and we're going, holy smokes, that's just fantastic. So we're really pleased with the breadth that we're starting to see and the acceptance for this type of a solution in the marketplace. And gosh, it's so much fun, because then we can offer other things too to them because of our experience. We can say, shoot, we got this consulting company, Fresh Horses Consulting. That's what David was alluding to. And we're from doing all of that consulting work, we got a lot of the pieces of the puzzle. We're able to put those together and say, here's your extraction unit for your either at home use or in your laboratory, individual, small shop, dispensary, whatever. And along with that, let us show you some things. Here's some standard operating procedures, free of charge.
Yeah, and this is what we've developed this channel and this podcast for, is we are going to be, in the weeks to come, we've got stuff about small extraction. We're going to teach you some things that we've learned, and also show you the machine and how it works. We're going to be talking about vaporizers and the vaporizer world. And we have just so many amazing things to come. So I want everybody to come back and listen to us here next week as we move down this journey. We want you guys to come with us and see how this works. And I guarantee you guys will learn a bunch, because every time I'm around these two, I learn a mouthful every time. So guys, I want you guys to come back. I'm really excited as we move forward and grow the show. So Gary and David, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Woo!
Thank you, Tony.
And if you guys are interested at all, if you're waiting for episodes to come out and you've got questions about some of the stuff we're doing, please go to essentialextractioncorp.com, and you can find all the stuff we're doing there, some of the stuff we talked about today and more. And you can also reach David and Gary too through there. So guys, we look forward to sharing as much as we can with you and growing along the way. So thanks so much, and we'll see you next week.
You have just listened to another informative episode of Extraction Essentials with Tony Frischknecht. We invite you to come back next time as we strive to provide useful knowledge and tools every week to help you on your extraction business. You can also visit extractionessentials.com for additional resources and to know more about working with Tony. See you again next time.